I think that itself is extremely, speaks volumes for me as a father, that my daughter doesn't want to be like me as an actor.
They were born not into a home, but into a phenomenon. A name whispered from Mumbai to Morocco, a father whose smile could stop traffic, whose words could melt cynicism, whose life became modern mythology. But every empire hides its heart behind closed doors. Behind the gates of Manat, 3 children grew up learning that fame is a privilege and a prison. Aryan, Suhana, and AbRam Khan, each born into their father's light, yet destined to find their own. This is the untold story of the king's children, a saga of love, redemption, and the price of legacy. The boy who became king. Before the world called him King Khan, he was just Shah Rukh Khan, a skinny Delhi boy with more dreams than money. Born in 1965 to Mir Taj Muhammad Khan, a freedom fighter, and Latif Fatima, a government worker, he grew up in Rajinder Nagar surrounded by second-hand books and first-class imagination. His parents taught him that belief was wealth, and love a revolution. When cancer took his father and illness later claimed his mother, SRK's world collapsed, yet grief became his engine. At Hansraj College, he studied economics by day, theater by night, performing until candles burned out. He once said, "If I can survive losing my parents, I can survive anything." That conviction followed him onto a train to Mumbai in 1991, 1,500 rupees in his pocket, his mother's photo in his bag, and a promise to make her proud. Mumbai was merciless. He slept on floors, borrowed food, auditioned endlessly. Then came Deewana, 1992, and overnight, India had a new obsession. He wasn't the macho hero of the 80s, he was real, unpredictable, vulnerable. With Bazigar, Dar, and finally Dilwale Dulhania Le Jayenge, he became not just a star, but an emotion. Yet amid the chaos stood one constant, Gauri Chibber. He'd met her at a Delhi party when he was 18. She was 14, dancing with friends. He was smitten instantly. When her conservative family forbade the relationship, he chased her across cities like a man in one of his own films. After years of resistance, they married in 1991, uniting 2 faiths, 2 worlds, and 1 destiny. Their story was proof that love could rewrite rules. And when fame arrived, it came hand in hand with something deeper, fatherhood. For a man who had lost everything early, it meant the chance to rebuild family from the ground up. By the mid-1990s, SRK owned box offices and hearts alike. But behind the laughter and luxury, he remained that boy from Delhi, haunted, hungry, human. He often said, "The only thing bigger than my dreams is my fear of losing love again." That fear would drive him to protect his family more fiercely than any award or fortune ever could. Because the empire he built wasn't just in cinema, it was in the people who called him Papa. And that story truly began with the birth of his first son, Aryan Khan. Aryan Khan, the crown prince who fell and rose again. When Aryan Khan was born on November 13, 1997, India celebrated as if royalty had arrived. He was the child of Bollywood's most beloved couple, a living symbol of the empire Shah Rukh Khan had built from nothing. From his very first photo, the nation expected him to be the next SRK. But Aryan was never a child of noise. He was quiet, analytical, always watching. He didn't crave the camera. He wanted to understand what happened behind it. At London's Sevenoaks School, he stayed away from public attention, later moving to the University of Southern California to study filmmaking. While his father ruled Bollywood, Aryan preferred writing scripts and editing footage in solitude. SRK would often say, "He's not interested in being me, he's interested in building something of his own." Then came October 2021, when the family's world stopped. Aryan was detained during a cruise ship raid, accused of drug possession. The nation went wild. TV debates, headlines, rumors. For 25 days, Shah Rukh Khan's eldest son was in jail, even though no drugs were found. No evidence proved guilt. It wasn't just a legal case, it was a public trial by perception. Inside Manat, SRK was no longer the superstar. He was a father, helpless, terrified, praying through sleepless nights. Those who knew him said he aged a decade in a month. The man who had made a generation believe in happy endings was now living through his darkest chapter. When Aryan was finally released, the family went silent. No interviews, no statements, no revenge, just privacy and healing. Months later, Aryan re-emerged, not as an actor, but as a writer and director for Red Chillies Entertainment. His debut series, Stardom, explores fame, illusion, and isolation. Subjects he understands too well. Every scene, insiders say, carries shades of his own story. He also co-founded a streetwear brand, Diavel X, blending design with defiance, his initials hidden in the fabric like a personal signature of resilience. SRK, proud yet humbled, said quietly, "My son will never have my struggle, but he'll have his own." Those words now define Aryan's journey. He isn't chasing redemption anymore, he's creating it. He's not trying to become the next Shah Rukh Khan. He's becoming the first Aryan Khan. And for his father, that's the greatest triumph of all. To see his son rise, not because of the name he carries, but because of the weight he survived. Suhana Khan, the princess who stepped into the fire. If Aryan inherited his father's intellect, Suhana Khan inherited his light. Born on May 22, 2000, she grew up surrounded by fame so massive that her childhood often felt like a movie set. But inside Manat's walls, Gauri and Shah Rukh Khan worked hard to make life ordinary. There were school mornings, curfews, and theater rehearsals, and in those quiet spaces, Suhana found her calling, not in glamour, but in expression. She was a natural performer from the start. At Dhirubhai Ambani International School, she dominated every play, mastering lines with maturity far beyond her age. SRK would sneak into the audience, sitting in the back, wiping away tears as she took her final bow. He later said, "When I watch Suhana act, I see myself, only stronger." After school, she left India to chase independence, studying drama at Ardingly College in England. There she won Best Actress awards, not because she was SRK's daughter, but because she earned it. She went on to the Tisch School of the Arts at NYU, walking the same halls as Scorsese and Lady Gaga, learning to dissect performance with craft and conviction. In New York, no one called her the Bollywood princess. She was just another student struggling with auditions, lines, and long nights of doubt. And that anonymity, something her father never had, gave her freedom. But freedom came with criticism. When photos of her circulated online, strangers felt entitled to comment on her looks and skin tone. In a world obsessed with fairness, Suhana chose honesty. She posted a message that went viral. "I've been told since I was 12 that I'm too dark. It's not just about me. It's about every girl who's been made to feel less beautiful because of her skin." Those words weren't a celebrity statement. They were a manifesto. SRK, reading it, said, "That's the moment she became a woman in my eyes." In 2023, Suhana made her acting debut in The Archies, directed by Zoya Akhtar. The spotlight was blinding, the expectations enormous, but Suhana entered with quiet grace. Her portrayal of Veronica Lodge wasn't about fame, it was about freedom. Audiences saw something real, poise, warmth, potential. Off-screen, she quickly became a global fashion icon, representing brands like Maybelline and Louis Vuitton. But fame hasn't changed her. She still calls her father before every big event, still texts him after shoots asking, "Did I do okay?" He always replies, "You did better than you think." Suhana's journey isn't about proving she's her father's daughter, it's about proving she's her own woman. She's redefining what legacy looks like, not an inheritance, but a torch carried on her own terms. Because in Suhana, we see what happens when courage and compassion share the same last name. AbRam Khan, the Miracle Child. By the time AbRam Khan was born in 2013, Shah Rukh Khan had already conquered everything. Awards, fame, fortune, even the world's imagination. But success can't fill silence. After years of chaos and loss, what SRK longed for most wasn't another hit, it was peace. And then came AbRam, the miracle that restored it. He was born through surrogacy, arriving prematurely and frail. For nearly 2 months, he lay in a neonatal ICU, fighting quietly for life. SRK later recalled, "He was so small, like a heartbeat in my palm. Every day we prayed for one more sunrise. When the doctors finally cleared him to go home, Shah Rukh didn't celebrate. He sat by the crib, just watching his son breathe. In that stillness, he found something he'd lost in the noise of stardom: faith. Eid, 2014. SRK stepped onto Manat's balcony, carrying AbRam in his arms. Below, thousands of fans roared his name. But his smile wasn't for the cameras, it was for the little boy clutching his collar. That moment wasn't a performance, it was redemption. A man who'd built his life on make-believe had found something real again. AbRam quickly became India's favorite child. Every photo, every wave went viral. But inside Manat, he wasn't a symbol, he was a reason. SRK and Gauri guarded his privacy, wanting him to have the one thing his siblings never did: a normal childhood. There are no grand interviews or film launches for AbRam, just cricket games, school picnics, and bedtime stories with Dad. SRK often says, "He doesn't know who I am. I like it that way." To AbRam, his father isn't a superstar. He's the man who reads fairy tales and falls asleep halfway through. He's the hand that holds him at IPL matches, the voice cheering loudest in the stands. Every time Shah Rukh speaks of AbRam, his tone softens. "He's my balance," he once said. "He reminds me that the biggest star is still just a father at home." And maybe that's AbRam's greatest role. Not to inherit fame, but to heal the man who carried it too long. In a career filled with cinematic miracles, AbRam was the only one that didn't need a script. He didn't come to continue a dynasty, he came to remind it why it began. Because for all his titles, actor, producer, icon, Shah Rukh Khan's proudest one is still the simplest: Papa. The house that love built. From the outside, Manat looks like a fortress: towering gates, manicured lawns, balconies overlooking the Arabian Sea. Fans gather there every day, waving, shouting, hoping for a glimpse of the man who defined romance for a generation. But if you step inside, past the echo of fame, you'll find something rare in Bollywood: a home. Manat wasn't built for opulence, it was built for memory. Every corner has a story: a framed note from his parents, a wall filled with fan letters from the 1990s, the sound of Gauri's laughter from the kitchen, and most precious of all, the chaos of 3 children growing up under one roof, each carrying a different version of their father's heart. SRK once said, "People think Manat is just a mansion. It's not. It's the only place where I can stop being Shah Rukh Khan. Inside these walls, he's not the king of Bollywood. He's the man who makes breakfast on Sundays, who checks homework, who reads bedtime stories, and sometimes forgets the ending halfway through because he's fallen asleep before his kids do." When the cameras leave, it's here that Shah Rukh becomes human again. He sits in the garden with Gauri, sipping coffee, watching AbRam chase pigeons. He calls Aryan to ask how filming is going. He reads Suhana's scripts, sometimes offering advice, sometimes just smiling and saying, "You're already better than I was at your age." There's a quiet rhythm to the Khan household now, one built not on fame, but forgiveness, for the lost years, for the harsh headlines, for the expectations that nearly broke them. Because behind the glow of the spotlight, the Khan family has weathered storms most people will never see. Aryan's arrest tested their unity, Suhana's public scrutiny tested their patience, and through it all, Gauri remained the quiet spine of the family, graceful, steady, unshaken. SRK often calls her the center of my universe. When the world turned its back, she held the family together. She reminded him that fame is fleeting, but family is forever, that every palace needs peace, and she was his. Today, the family moves with the ease of people who've seen everything and survived it. Aryan, working behind the camera, shaping stories instead of chasing fame. Suhana, preparing for her next film, carrying her own voice into a world her father conquered. And little AbRam, who still waves from the balcony every Eid, unaware that his small gesture makes millions smile. To the outside world, it's spectacle. To SRK, it's sacred. He once said, "The world sees my balcony as a symbol of stardom. I see it as my mother's blessing, because it's where my children and I meet the world together." When you think about it, that's the perfect metaphor for Shah Rukh Khan's life. The boy from Delhi who had nothing, now standing on a balcony with everything and realizing that the real treasure was never the fame, but the family beside him. Over the years, SRK has played heroes who ran through train stations, whispered poetry in the rain, and taught generations what love means. But off-screen, his greatest role has been something quieter, truer, being a father who leads by example. He's shown Aryan that redemption is real. He's shown Suhana that courage begins with being seen. And he's shown AbRam that innocence is worth protecting. That's not just fatherhood, it's legacy. And legacy isn't measured by awards or wealth. It's measured by the laughter echoing in your home long after you're gone. SRK once said in an interview, "If my kids remember me as a good father, not a great actor, then I've succeeded." That sentence alone tells the story of a man who learned that the crown means nothing if you can't wear it with humility. There's a quiet moment that fans often miss. Every evening just before sunset, SRK steps out onto Manet's terrace. He looks toward the sea, hands in pockets, eyes half closed. It's his daily ritual, his moment of gratitude. Sometimes AbRam joins him, clutching his father's hand. Sometimes Suhana leans against the railing, talking about her next role. And sometimes Aryan sits quietly beside him, both of them saying nothing, because nothing needs to be said. 3 children, 3 stories. One father who became a legend by being human. Shah Rukh Khan built an empire not to rule it, but to share it with the people he loves most. His life reminds us that greatness isn't about how far you go. It's about how gently you return home. They say legacy is what you leave behind. But for Shah Rukh Khan, legacy is what walks beside him. It has Aryan's quiet strength, Suhana's fearless voice, and AbRam's innocent laughter. Together, they carry not the weight of fame, but the warmth of faith. Because in the end, the true measure of a man isn't the number of hearts he wins, it's the ones that beat because of him. So the next time you see the lights glowing from Manat across the Arabian Sea, remember, you're not just looking at a superstar's mansion, you're looking at a love story. A story about a boy who lost his parents, found a dream, built a kingdom, and gave it all meaning through the family that calls him Papa. If this story moved you, leave a heart in the comments below and tell us. What's your favorite Shah Rukh Khan moment? And which celebrity family should we uncover next? Subscribe to Things That Make You Go. For more untold stories that dive deeper. Beyond fame, beyond fortune, into the hearts of legends. Because behind every legend, there's a family story the world never saw.